My name is Armani Howard. I'm a multidisciplinary artist based in Chicago, Illinois. I got into my craft from pretty much my mother telling me I needed to get a job, and I looked into just alternatives from the standard like restaurant or office sort of situation, and I found After School Matters. I was like 15, 16 at the time, and I was really big into skateboarding, so one of the programs was a skateboard design program. And it was just the first time I was seeing someone that was alive talking me through the process of how works are created, and after that it was just went all from there. Like I just kept being consumed by art making and the therapy of it and what how it made me feel. Normally when I'm creating, there's a lot that I can pull from life. Like I think something about the appreciation of just waking up and being able to see and breathe is something that's magical in itself. But I think having a different background in my household growing up, I started to look at life in a different lens. Started to see things from a very strong grayscale. And there's just a lot. There's a lot. I mean, like I said, something as simple as like your autonomy and just like the fact that you can see and breathe and walk. But even just like the relationships you build, whether that's intimate or platonic, it's just like there's something beautiful about all these humans and beings in the world existing on the same plane that you can learn from one another. So it could be as simple as motion and movement, existence, but sometimes it can go as far as like learning something new, you know? My main goals for most of my project is to make sure that I'm being true to myself, that I'm communicating exactly what I feel emotionally, what I'm also allowing, whether that's a commission for someone or like a corporate project, that they're allowing themselves to break barriers. I just try to like, throughout my whole creation process, I try my best to cultivate a new experience. Try to push myself in boundaries that I don't think was possible before. I think the thing that makes me most unique within my craft is probably my approach. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, so I look at things from so many different lenses, and sometimes a lot of people have a certain skill or trait and you think that some projects need to exist in a certain fashion, whereas that is normally not the case for you. So even though I'm trained in painting and sculpture and all these other things, sometimes it can be an audio piece, sometimes it can be an installation, and most of the time people are looking things from a very filtered lens, whereas for me I tend to like look at the whole scope of possibilities and what and how these things can live and the different ways they can live. A multidisciplinary artist is someone that doesn't focus on one practice. So again, I was trained in painting and illustration, but sometimes there are pieces and subject matters that don't need to exist in those mediums. So there's some times where I have ideas and I go straight to drawing and sketching, but maybe it's a sculpture. Maybe it's a performance piece, maybe it's an installation, maybe it's a design. Like I basically allow myself to be open to all mediums in order to get the point across. Some of the recent projects that I've been a part of have all been more in the fine art space. Done some gallery exhibitions. I recently had an exhibition or a group exhibition that I was a part of in the Hamptons through this gallery, Eric Firestone Gallery. I'm currently working on a series of short films with a friend of mine, Blake Matthews. Besides that, working on solo exhibitions, working on group shows as well. Just any project that feels that it fits within my scope of life right now. The projects that feel the most fun are the ones that I build relationships from. Like sometimes with being creative or being an artist, sometimes your practice can feel pretty transactional. So it's like a back and forth, whereas meeting new people, and like, you know, nurturing new relationships. Those are the ones that I enjoy the best, because at that point, like, no matter how severe that project may feel, you just gain a new friendship or relationship from it. So yeah, any other projects that I build new relationships, and then any other projects that give me like creative freedom, like any of the ones that I can do what I want to do to a T, like I really enjoy those. I currently think Chicago is missing in relation to like the creative community and artist community. I think we're missing trust. There's a lot of talented individuals in the city, and everyone has their intention with their practice. But I think with that same hunger, we tend to like kind of lose the trust for one another, and we start to look at, going back to transactional relationships, we start to look at each relationship as a transaction instead of like what it means in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, and then just a little more collaboration that's, you know, that doesn't have a return, and just nurturing that. My responsibility as a creative is to continue to push the envelope, not be afraid to have certain conversations that people normally try to avoid, to continue to push the conversation of being yourself. It's easy in this day and age to easily try to make my work fit within a certain image or mold. So taking this direction and this career path and this, you know, this line in my work, yeah, I just have to continue to like not settle. I have to continue to show people that there's always more things you can be doing. There like further boundaries that can be pushed. Yeah, I think that's like my main focus as a creative. My greatest accomplishment that's a tricky one, because like it's not relating to my craft. I think it's just the fact that I've been able to keep younger Armani happy, to show him that he can still do what he told himself he could do. I think that's like my biggest accomplishment as I'm looking at the age that I am now. Like, if I was to communicate to 13-year-old Armani, he would be proud of me. If I was to talk to 18-year-old Armani, he would be proud of me. So the fact that I told myself that as a kid, and here I am now as an adult, and I'm still keeping that promise, that's the biggest one. It's not like with my craft, it's just that I told myself I was going to stick to something, and I'm doing it, and it makes me happy. So there's power in this. There's a lot of people who don't understand that we have the power to make our lives what we want them to be, and to see that I've been able to give myself my own form of therapy. Obviously, there's still other ways you need to go about doing that, but the fact that I've been able to like nurture myself and enrich my life and give myself new experiences, because of those promises that I told myself as a kid. You know, when I was a kid, I used to have a sketchbook. When I first started drawing, I would write like, Armani, you will be happy. Armani, you will see the world. Armani, you will do these things. And like the fact that I've honored each of those things, like I've been like my biggest cheerleader, if that makes sense. And that's like no ego attached, but I think sometimes it's easy for us to go search for what we want out of our lives with other people, whether that be relationships, family, friends, or whatever. And at the end of the day, it's just us, you know? It's like when I go to sleep, I'm the only person in my head. I'm the only person in my heart. So I need to make sure that I'm nurturing what that feels like. I just gotta keep pushing myself. It's like, it's what I told myself, it's what I wanted to continue to do, and it's what I promised to do. I think I'm chasing creative freedom. There's not a particular person I can say, or there's not a particular job or opportunity. I think I believe in my work to the point to where I'm chasing the opportunity to never be restricted from what I know it can grow into and what it can become. Yeah, and I guess whatever that means, whether that is more like financial opportunities or whatever that may be, but I just think it's primarily just like creative freedom. I'm chasing to be able to make any project or piece or idea that I have, see it come to fruition, see it come to a T, to not compromise. I'm chasing freedom, whether that's emotional, artistically, spiritually. What's next for me is I'm working on 2 solo exhibitions currently. I'm looking forward to a short film project that me and a colleague are working on. Some traveling, being able to see more of the world now that it's somewhat becoming normal. And just enjoying the ride. Just enjoying the ride, whatever that looks like. That's pretty much next.